Recently on social media, there seems to be a huge debate as to why certain sports stories are getting more media coverage than others. So, the three I'm going to talk about, which are the most recent, are the Ime Udoka scandal at the Boston Celtics, with him having an affair with Patrick Lynch, who is the VP of the Boston Celtics wife. The other story is the Brett Favre stealing millions of dollars from the Mississippi welfare system so that his daughter could get a volleyball sports center and promote the volleyball sports team for his daughter years ago. And then the other story is Robert Sarver, who is the Phoenix Suns owner, who was investigated and found to have created an atmosphere at work that is not conducive to a safe, inclusive environment. He was found to have made racist and sexual remarks. He was found to have been physical with some of the male staff, being aggressive. So why are these three stories getting different coverage? Robert Sarver, I think being the NBA owner, was dealt with by the NBA. So they had their investigation. He was determined to be guilty of the alleged complaints. And the NBA, so Adam Silver, the commissioner, decided that his punishment would be a 1 year suspension. So that's from all team activities. He can't go to the arena. He can't be involved in decision making. He was also fined $10 million and mandated to take a course on workplace environment. So we have to remember the commissioner has decided his penalty. The Ime Udoka, and if I'm saying that wrong, I had somebody tell me I was saying it wrong, and if I am, I apologize. Not sure the pronunciation. I looked it up online. That's how they said to say it, so that's how I'm saying it. Anyways, he was found, as I mentioned earlier, to have had an affair with the VP of the organization, the Boston organization's wife. I'm surprised, honestly, that he wasn't fired. And rumor has it that he's now considering resigning from the organization. Now, again, that's just rumor. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. His punishment came from the Boston Celtics organization. So, 1 year for Sarver making a hostile work environment versus somebody having an affair doesn't seem like it should both be a 1 year suspension. However, one is coming from the commissioner, one is coming from the actual organization, and I'm sure the VP had some say in this. I would think it would be in his best interest to say he has a conflict of interest because his wife was the one that was implicated in this affair. But let's be real, if he's the VP, I'm sure, his buddies are on the board of directors and they're the ones making the decisions. So I think their loyalty is going to lie with the VP of the operation, Patrick Lynch, because I think they can also sympathize with what his situation is. Who let out this information will be interesting to find out, because you would hope that this would stay within the organization. But I guess because they're going to suspend him, they have to give a reason. So I guess this was a way, somebody leaked it so that people are aware. Now, Ime is also dating, has a long-term relationship with Nia Long. He's been with her since 2010. They have a child together. He just recently moved her in with him to Boston, which, is a whole other story. Why would you do that if you know you're being investigated? And she was totally caught off guard, poor thing. But again, it's a situation where, the organization rather than the actual NBA is deciding his fate. The next person we're going to talk about is Brett Favre. And Brett is an ex Hall of Fame quarterback who, stole millions and millions of dollars, and in my opinion, should be charged criminally. Problem is, he was doing this alongside the government. They knew, they agreed to. There's text messages that show this was coordinated together. So if you take down Brett Favre, you're taking down the government. And we all know government officials cover for each other. At least that's my opinion. If there's a way around this, they're going to just say pay back the money. He has already paid back 1.1 million. So obviously there's more. Others have pleaded guilty, so they're dealing with it. But the governor has not been dealt with at this point, or former governor. So I'm sure he's doing everything in his power to protect Brett Favre, because this will also implicate him, and he doesn't want to go to jail. So I think the fact that in this case the government is involved, he is a former player, he's not currently playing. Whatever scandal is happening is not going to affect any organization, whereas with Ime, his discipline is going to affect the Boston Celtics organization for the upcoming season. And, Sarver, as an owner of the Phoenix Suns, is now saying he's going to sell it. So there's different factors that are in play here. I think we have to remember that although Brett Favre is guilty, in my opinion, for doing something that is inexcusable, should be punishable, he is not in the limelight right now. He, retired in 2010. He even had text message scandals where he had sent a New York Jets game day host, Jen Sturger, some, special pics, and, propositioned her. She never fell for it. She didn't go for it. So, the fact that that story is more than 10 years old, it matters, but it doesn't because of the time lapse. Some people will say it's race related. I personally don't feel that way, but I'm also white. So, people would make that argument that you don't know what it's like, and maybe I don't. But again, I think the factors of who did Ime sleep with and who dealt out the punishment. Sarver, he's an owner, so he is in a position of power himself. His punishment was set out by Adam Silver, the commissioner. Brett Favre, the government is involved in this scandal. So all these things come into play when you talk about how much social media coverage is given. Now I'm going to talk about myself. I've done stories on Sarver. I've done stories on Brett Favre, and I've done stories on Ime Udoka. I got the most views on the Ime Udoka story. And I'm not talking about a couple hundred different. I'm talking about thousands and thousands different. So if you don't want to see Ime Udoka's name brought in the mud anymore, focus on the other stories. Start talking about the Brett Favre story. Start talking about the Robert Sarver story. The more you click on those stories, the more the media is going to cover it. It's just my opinion. Subscribe to Rova's Rants, hit the like button, and we'll see you soon.